We need women who are strong. Sorry, we need women who are so strong that they can be gentled, so educated they can be humble, so fierce they can be compassionate, so passionate they can be rational, and so disciplined they can be free. That was a quote from Kadiva Mathis, and this is the Inspired Poetry Corner. Good morning, one and all, fellow poets, fellow writers. Welcome, welcome to a special Sunday. It is International Women's Month, and today we get to celebrate not necessarily women from the past, although we've had some amazing women from the past, but today we get to celebrate the women in our lives today. Today we get to celebrate two amazing poets, Dr. Molly and Nayma, who we will get to listen to in a bit, and all the other women that's in the show and in your lives. I know in Europe and other parts of the world, today is Mother's Day, so happy Mother's Day to all the European mothers and mothers in the other parts of the world that are celebrating Mother's Day. Every day is a celebration for me as far as women are concerned, because I come from women. And the woman that I celebrate most is my mother, when we talk about great women of the present day and the past. So today, just like every day, every Sunday, we get together to come together and celebrate through our poetry, through our artistry, through our collective spirit of love and appreciation for each other and being human. So today we have two features. So each feature will recite for about 20 minutes, followed by a 10-minute interview where I'll ask some questions just to get to know the poets in a different way. And then we have a list of about 10 other poets that I call the not ready for primetime poets, which basically supports the feature. This is a recital, it's not an open mic. So if you're here to recite, great. If you're here to just listen and take in the festivities, welcome, welcome, welcome. I hope you're all well in great spirits. I hope you have whatever it is that you choose to keep yourself refreshed. I have water this morning, kind of taking a break from Sunday morning coffee. But let's just sit back and truly enjoy being together for the next couple of hours or however long this takes. It might go till 6 o'clock my time. Who knows? No, I'm only kidding. I'll try to keep this show within a reasonable time frame. 2 hours at 2.5 hours tops. So having said that, fasten your seatbelt. We'll be flying at an altitude of 35,000 feet. Try to keep your seatbelt buckled just in case there's turbulence, because we know that these poets are going to come with fire today. So we will turbulent the mind and the heart and hope get us all flowing in a place where we are appreciative of being alive. I got up this morning on the right side of the dirt, and that's a good thing. Every day I get up on the right side of the dirt is a good day. A great day is what I choose to do with it. And today I start off with spending time in this recital with you. So my day is already great. Wow. All right. Having said that, we will start with our first feature. I'm so honored to have Dr. Molly as one of our features today for this month's recital. I've come across Molly in a number of the rooms. I think I first came across her in the Fertile Brains room, and I just love her enthusiasm for life and for our humanity. So Dr. Molly is a poet. She's a professor, and just from talking to her earlier, she's a traveling professor that is no longer in the classroom, but goes around and does a lot of guest lecturing. She's a noted poet. She writes poetry, travelogues, stories for children, and she's a renowned translator. She has authored 17 books, which include 15 books of poetry and a storybook for children, The Adventures of Billu, Dillu and Thrillu, and 2 novels translated. She's widely publicized in different anthologies throughout India and around the world. She's served on the International Jury for Poetry Competition and is an insightful reviewer. Her list of accomplishments are just amazing, and she's done many of the open mics that we have seen that we've all participated in. Her books, Water Songs Over the Stones and Songs of Silence, has won the Best Poetry Book of the Year in 2020 and 2022, respectively. Two of her books were released in Kenya at the Kistrech Poetry Festival. In 2021, she won the Untitled Gold Medal, the Outstanding Poets Award. Like I said, she's done some amazing things and has been acknowledged for her poetry. And I think the biggest thing about her is her enthusiasm for life and her enthusiasm for our humanity, and hopefully using her words to show how we are all connected as human beings. That's one of the things I love most about her. So ladies and gentlemen, I invite you to put your hands together to snap up your fingers for Dr. Molly.
Hi dears. Thank you, Raleigh James, for that very kind, brilliant introduction. It's indeed my immense pleasure to be with you. I had been here 2-3 times in this platform. And along with Nayma, you have honored us by inviting us for this special Women's Day, International Women's Month celebration. Once again, I thank you. I belong to India, the southern tip of India called Kerala, full of lush green vegetation called God's own country. Yes. Since we dwell upon Women's Day, let me start with a poem on women. The first poem. O woman, you have it in you to stand up against the wind, undaunted when it blows harsh on you, merciless, derailing, devastating. No, not alone you are. Or what if you are alone? In you lie the power to sprout even on arid plains. You, the Mother Nature, ever renewing, shedding all the counters, in tandem with the eclipse of the moon, to merge anew, to emerge anew, afresh on yonder crested hills. The ever-alive fountainhead you are, sprinkling kindness, care and love on whoever comes around, the herd of tired pilgrims. When the world gropes in darkness and fret in dismay, drooping, you shower radiance divine, igniting the guiding light. The barren blooms, birds flutter, nature rouses in your magnetic touch. The river that flows, covering caverns of hurts and wounds, still you flow, you smile. Your burns turn into learning lessons for you to walk through fire with faith and hope. Strong and soulful you are. O woman, you have it in you to stand up against the wind, undaunted. Yes, dears, that was my first poem. Thank you. Yes, when we look at life, as Raleigh put it, fits and starts, it goes. Like life is like a magician throwing out something out of his maverick, throwing up something unexpected and predictable. So on the crevice on which we can fall anytime, we walk, but we walk with hope. I wrote a book, Water Sings Over the Stones. And the first one, that was during pandemic time, I wrote this particular book. Here I read that poem. The slippery shores on which we walk. Water sings over the stones. The quicksands of COVID, that is COVID time, sweep across, shrouding man's survival game. Where are we heading to? You can hear the sand drifting from the tops and valleys throwing back their despair. It echoes, pervades the near, the far, while pale horizons watch. No, out there, a plane awaits. You're aboard of solace, where water sings over the stones. The wind cools you. The cattle stand in wait under the trees to step down to the riverside to quench their thirst. Wait, wait, we too must, for the sandstorm to subside and the sky to clear up. Yes, that kind of patient acceptance of the reality is what we need these days. But as a poet, I never felt I could close my eyes at the grim realities that we face. As it is referred to, I was in Kenya, Chikizi University. The university students took me to those tribal areas where I could find just barely 20-year-old girl, pregnant, with 2 other children to look after. I asked her, where is your man? He has left for better fortune. And her only means of living, like having poultry, and I found a mother chicken pecking up and getting food and others cackling around. I felt, oh God, this is what she is doing with her 3 kids. But we seldom realize in one part of the world this happens. When I come back here to my FISAT professional college, students are fretting and fuming over their comfortable lives. Oh, this vacation was boring. Parents never took us anywhere. I tell them, look, this is the other side of life. No, we complain about our shoes and seldom realize that our next door neighbor has no feet to wear. So contemporary themes were my poetic themes. When war happened, especially in Afghanistan that time, I wrote a poem on the poor Afghan father. A slice of contemporary reality brought to you. Here I read it for you. The hapless Afghan father. He very much wanted to be with them, his daughter and wife fleeing those hands that hunted them. Dashing through the tarmac, making way through the jostling crowd, he could get just a grip on the undercarriage of the plane. Desperately, he clung to it, braving the gusts of wind. I am with you, he shouted. Lo, as it takes the flight, the auto shut of undercarriages. Down he falls, perilous. Murmurs on his lips resonate. I am with you. Yes, dears, I have to be conscious about time. Yes. And I am not somebody who would simply wallow in despair through my writing and then tell, oh God, world is like this. So much of realities, grim realities, engulfing us, devouring us. No. As poets, I feel we are like lanterns, with all respects, lantern carrier, brightening up the scene, dispelling the darkness by lighting our little candles. And these days, for your information, I'm telling you, there is a wonderful poet philosopher in India called Dr. Jarnail Singh Anand. We are starting an online university of ethics for the first time in the world. Online university of ethics. Ethics, not in the narrow, inclusive kind of thing. No, nothing to do with religion. What we need in society these days is a kind of awareness within the youth. Rather than being cocooned in their own self, in the technological world, self-appeasement, my job, my house, my. Let there be an awareness that is inculcated into the youth. That's why I do travel around taking classes. The right kind of ethical values, perhaps we can impart, which can make a better generation. That is it. Certain courses we are organizing. We hope that the universities will make it compulsory. Yes. And With that, I think time is up. I'm winding up by a small poem on positivity. This is it, a short poem. I hope we can do that. Somewhere is the poem. Somewhere in the midst of roaring traffic, a hand reaches out to help the old man cross the road. Somewhere, a kind policeman carries the pregnant lady caught up in roadblock, rushing her to hospital. Somewhere, a child bends down to pick up the mud-strewn plastic put into the dustbin. Somewhere, the busy commuter turns around, stops to close the tap, oozing water. Somewhere, braving the heat, the woman nurses the sapling, the lone survivor of the giant mother tree that has been cut. Somewhere, leaders meet to work on truce to stop the fight. Hope, the first cry of the newborn, long awaited, distant. Peace as a promise, like the rain the thundering clouds carry. Thank you, dears, for sparing time for me. Thank you.
You know, Dr. Molly, you still have some time if you'd like to recite a couple more.
Really? When you raise your hand, I thought it was like.
Oh no, I was snapping to what you were saying. No. You still have time. Keep going.
Okay. My travels have been giving me real insights, as I told you. When I had been to Kenya, oh God, what all eye-openers. I sit, I see, I listen, oh Kenya. Under the shadowy tree canopy, where light plays hide and seek, where a gentle wind caresses your cheek, I sit, I see, I listen. The faces, voices telltale signs of centuries' exploits. Oh, begotten oppression. How long can voice be muffled? No, they speak their tongue, sing their song, strut and trot their primitive number, resisting the lang cult inflicted on, asserting the indigenous, the resilience of a ball rising up after a fall. I sit, I see, I listen. The vaulting up voice of humanity, craving for recognition, acceptance, justice, above all, understanding. Folks, I sit, I see, I listen. Yeah. If you allow me, just a small poem also, it's on memories. Because as Rollin James put it, life is beautiful in spite of all this. Like the dewdrop hanging on the grass, the blade of grass. Transient beauty it offers. Let us grab the moment, especially when it comes to memories. This is from a book called It Rains. Excuse me. It rains, it rains. It rains over time's misty terrain where memories play hide and seek. The face that lit up the dull noon, the voice that rendered solace, strength. The place you saw, so pristine, serene. The people who smiled, so genuine, gentle. It rains, it rains. The windy night that breathed in fear, forebodings you dreaded. But later, the pitter-patter threw things into relief. Somewhere it dawned, hopes of a peaceful morn. It rains, it rains. Trudging along narrow lanes, where your solitary steps lay unnoticed on earth, shrewd, indistinct, in wild rush of ongoing feet, jostling against each in envy riddlers. Which was the corner that offered togetherness, though transient? It rains, it rains. But for these rains that fall like manna, how could one survive the ravages of time? The wreck, that wreck, our average lives. The ravages of time that wreck our average lives. It rains, it rains. Thank you, dears. Thank you so much.
I'm sitting here just smiling, and my smile comes from my heart.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're just an amazing woman, Dr. Molly. I'm just
Thank
so honored to know you. Can you do me a favor and just do one more?
One more.
One more.
Okay. Yeah. In the beginning, when I was writing, I started with small poems, like short ones. I thought with a picture I would draw it. It was something on a few lines on dentures, you know. We put dentures on our teeth. And I put a picture of it, dentures. And I wrote a few lines only. But the one, Dr. Sachidanandan, who reviewed it, took up as the best one in the lot. 3-4 lines only. So let me get it for you. Yeah, 1 minute. With ill-fitting dentures, I sit. Contemporaneity themes, a bit too much in my mouth to swallow. That was the time when I was specializing in short ones. Because I thought my doctorate was in post-modern American poetry. Ezra Pound, William Carlos Williams was the poet I worked on. To say less, direct treatment of the theme. The thing should be treated directly. Why just put it with so much of subjectivity? That was the period wherein I did specialization in my poetry. So my poems have come as ribbon poetry with a special style of my own, like direct treatment of the thing, no kind of frills or ornamentation. And I think people like it. And I enjoy writing it. Dear. Isn't it enough? Jane? Because
Yes.
Nayma is there waiting.
Yep. No.
I'm now anxious about your questions. Oh
No,
God.
this is your time. But no, I wanted to ask you questions now because I mean, I asked you to do another one because to indulge me. It is, you know, it's kind of like my show, so I can do that. And I don't think anyone that's attending is really objecting to hearing your words, because it's not just your words, it's the passion that you deliver them with, and the smile on your face. You know, like I said, I'm sitting here with a smile listening to you. I've heard you many times before, and every time I hear you, I have the same response. I feel like I'm smiling. The smile comes from my heart, because you're so passionate about it, and that's what I love about you. You're so passionate about our humanity and seeing the good in life and accepting, yeah, there is a lot of bad and there's a lot of heaviness, but there's also still a lot of good. There's still a lot of good in our humanity. And I think sometimes we forget that. And that's one of the things I love about you. And every time I've encountered you, it's a consistent message with you. You know, you've written and have achieved so much. You know, I just read off a few of the things you've done, but how long have you been writing poetry, and what does poetry really mean to you? What does it really mean to you?
Actually, I put it once, what I'm doing as a poet. Life touches. You script it out. Slowly, subtly, becoming everyone, everything. That was how I summed up, because we need to develop a kind of wide berth to things, accommodating all, a kind of what you call inclusiveness. That's what is lacking these days. So that's what keeps me going. I scribble it out and try to find out. Unmolested, I look at the object, as I told you, not putting too much subjectivity. I leave it as such for the reader. I say less, and I want to get it out of the reader, how he relates to it. Oh, that's poetry.
Beautiful, beautiful. I know you're not in a classroom anymore, but do you miss it at all, or do you really enjoy just being an invited lecturer and traveling and lecturing all over the world?
Actually, regular schedule was rather suffocating me. You have to be there on time, punching in, punching out, and all that. When you want to be free, intellectually, mentally, imaginatively. But I loved meeting my students. I had wonderful time with them. Even though I have retired, I have any number of students still with me. They are just with me. We did marvels with youth power. I believe in youth power. India is especially noted for youth power. And you said why the time is always so fast. We are so vibrant. A set of people, youth power so much. So the thing was, I arranged a TED Talks. I could do so many wonderful things with them. Creative cradle was one thing. Like we would put up a cradle and everyone would come and put something into it, a scroll of writing. And that would be the inaugural of a literary association. So all these I cherish, but still, now at my leisure, people are calling me for talks. I mean, motivational kind. Tomorrow I'm going to give a talk on gender because it's Women's Month. Gender equity. What equity? I don't believe. There's nothing for 50%, 50%. Women are women with an identity of their own. I believe in womanism rather than feminism. To be a woman, you celebrate it. You have so much to give. Just like the poem we started with oxymorons opposites. The fierce and the tender, everything is there in a woman. So these kinds of things preoccupy me. And once I address youngsters, as I told you, about the University of Ethics, a new kind of awareness is thrown onto them, and I am not forcing it on them, because each student is like a kind of a bud about to blossom. It's an entity of its own. You get into it like a breeze, carrying some sparks, and if you touch it in them in the right direction, they pick it up and flare up, and the buds blossom. Teaching for me is a kind of mission, a God-given mission. My parents were teachers. My brothers are teachers. It's in my blood.
In your blood, yes, yes. Well, we need more teachers today. I know we have, I think Leah is on it. Yeah, she's another teacher. And maybe it's just here in the Western world, but the luster, the way we used to look at teachers have kind of diminished over the years. And to me, which is unfortunate, because we need more teachers, but it doesn't just have to be in a classroom. Do you have a favorite word?
Favorite word.
Favorite word.
That is kindness. Kindness.
Kindness.
That's what we need.
And we need more kindness. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. When we live here in the West, we always kind of just always look at things from our Western filters, I guess. When I say the West, countries like Canada, England, the US. And, we talk about countries like India and other countries in Africa, these up and coming countries. What is your hope? What is your hope for your country, India? What is your hope for your country, India?
India. Yeah. That's what we writers are engaged in, if only the kind of humanity filters in, not only with the layman, but with those in those powers that be, who are so keen on securing their position and power. The sense of humanity, like we work for all, the kind of togetherness. That's what I wish India could rise up to. Just like Tagore, our great poet. Have you heard of Rabindranath Tagore? When the mind is free, we can have real freedom. But when mind is yoked with ambition, power, domination, where is freedom? So that kind of a world, without greed, without amassing wealth and power, that's not the concern, but the true ethical concern, to live and let live. And let all be together so that there is real joy in being together. Not being aggressive. I am not even for this kind of excessive nationalism. We are all human beings on this earth. So wherever we go, we teach or we speak about that universal human beings that we are, and the kindness we have to radiate. That's my hope.
No.
And it takes time for the so-called system to assimilate it to the full, because everything is turning inclusive, religion, administration, all these, a tendency for inclusivity. I mean, exclusivity. Inclusivity is something that we have to imbibe.
Yeah, I agree. To me, inclusive, I don't know what it means, because we're all human. And the mere fact that I breathe the same air that you're breathing right now, and I walk upon the same earth that you walk upon, we're all included.
Yeah.
And, we have such a litany of history of the harshness of life. And we keep using it to beat each other up with, as opposed to learning from it so we can create more kindness and share. And maybe that's where we're headed. Some believe we're getting kinder and gentler as we move forward. Although in today's world, sometimes it's hard to see that because of all the media that we have, whether it's social or on the television box or whatever. But I agree with you. Kindness is key. That's the key inclusion. Can you be kind? Doesn't matter how you identify what God you pray to. At the end of the day, we're all human and we get to do this together. Do you have what's your favorite sound? What sound do you love hearing the most?
No, I am not really a mother but a grandma. So I would like to hear ma, the sound. That makes me. I'm a grandma with 4 grandkids.
Oh, great.
They say ma, I get excited. I get goosebumps.
Oh, that's so beautiful. That's so beautiful. Is there a sound that you don't like hearing?
Sound in the kind of derision, sarcasm.
Mm-hmm.
The kind of poo-pooing of things, that I don't like.
Okay.
Things are there, but who are you to be so judgmental and sarcastic?
Okay.
So that kind of sound, especially in Malayalam, it becomes different. Poo, poo, as if you are on a high pedestal and the other has no right to exist on its own.
Beautiful.
That's
I have 2 more questions before we wrap this up. To the young women, the young girls in India coming up, what would you say to them? What would be your message to them?
It's the message that I was reading in the first poem. You are the makers of the world, because when you have the right insights with which you look at things, not simply clamoring for 50%, 30% like that. No? When you realize your self-worth and your self-esteem, sometimes what happens is women, especially women children, I teach in colleges, women students also, they lack the belief in themselves. So what I tell them is, believe in yourself. You are the best. And you can be a wonderful daughter, wonderful wife, wonderful mother, wonderful person to society, contributing so much. Don't worry about the sense of proportion, equality. You are a woman. Celebrate being a woman and nurture generations. Okay. So that they, under the scaffold of the sky, build up heaven on earth.
Well, I lied. I love that answer. I have 2 more questions. So if you're going to say that to young women and young girls, what would you say to young men and young boys? What would you say to young men and young boys?
I tell them, look, my dears, the world is wide, and always keep your aims high and be not cocooned in your own selfish, ambitious goals, but look outside, stretch your hands outside, reach out. That is what I did in my professional college. You would adopt a village and you would go there. The boys who were good in, engineering students who were good in mechanical engineering did it. Because it is in you to raise a beautiful world. About organic farming, so many things you can do. Up your sleeve. Only thing, utilize it for the society. Live. Don't think that society has to give everything for you, but think in terms of what you are giving out to the society. I try to inculcate that thought into many a youngster, and I'm happy many of my students are, though they are top professionals, they find time to spare it for the needy and the weak. I'm so happy.
You're a beautiful soul. You're a beautiful soul. Last question. To whoever God you pray to, when your last days, when you have passed on to back to the other side of life,
yeah,
and your maker meets you, what would you want your maker to say to you?
I would say, oh my God, this side of life, you had blessed me so much. 6 decades and more, you were keeping me in my path. I'm so blessed. I'm so thankful. Now I have seen this side of life. Contented am I. Let me go and see the other world to be with you. I'll be eternally grateful.
You fill me up, woman. You are a blessing. Ladies and gentlemen, please unmute and just give us such love and snap it up and clap it up. What an amazing feature.
Bravo. Bravo. Oh. Thank you so much, Molly, for sharing with us. It's an absolute pleasure.
Thank you, dear. Thank you so much.
Dr. Molly, very inspiring. Fantastic.
Thank you, Jennifer. Thank you. Love being with you all.
Amazing image.
Thank you, Dr. Molly.
Thank you.
Really enjoyed it. Thank you.
Thank you.
It's just good to hear you more than just a couple of poems. And, hopefully, we get a little bit more insight to you. Like I said, I've seen it and I've felt it from you. And, I'm going to reach out to you and I want to have a one-on-one conversation with you because I just think you're, when people think of India and great women, they naturally think of Indira Gandhi. And hopefully one day they'll be talking about Dr. Molly Joseph. And I'm not just saying that because I honestly think you are, like I said, when I talk with you and I hear you, my smile comes from my heart. And I just you have such a powerful presence for yourself, but for life, for humanity that's infectious. And we need that so much today. So thank you for honoring the Inspired Poetry Corner. Thank you for agreeing to do this. And thank you for being an example of not just being what a good woman is, but what it is to be a good human being. Thank you.
Thank you. And humbled, overwhelmed. Thank you.
All right. From one great woman to the next great woman. Our next feature, and maybe just shake it off and get yourself reset and have a swig of your coffee and your water and let's just raise our hands and get it going, because what a great way to start, but what a great way to transition into this next feature, because I usually don't do 2 features monthly, but it is International Women's Day. And, contrary to what some men think, I always believe women have always been the one of power on this planet, because you're the ones that brings life into this world. We need each other. Men and women are equal in regards to we need each other to keep life going. but we each have different jobs. We're built differently, and we should appreciate the difference as opposed to looking for ways to always kind of compete or tear it down. So our next feature, she's a British Moroccan, a self-taught writer, poet. Her writing is influenced by her cultural duality. She's interested in female voices in the disparate community, the challenges they face within both communities, and the taboos around mental health within their ancestral communities. She's an active member of London's vibrant poetry and spoken word community, and an international poet. She appears in many open mics around the world. That's how I came across her. She's been featured in the West Wiltshire radio station. She's done a number of appearances on the BBC Radio London. She published her poetry collection, COVID, The Wordy Wilds of a Mind Under Lockdown. It is a cultural fusion of poetry that explores themes of identity and duality and displacement, loss, race, feminism, culture, family, and love, as she's experienced it through her life, alongside with the effects of mental health and the pandemic and other world events. She's just finished a second collection of poems and is currently working on her first novel. She's right now sitting in Morocco, where she's been touring around and meeting the various poets and people, connecting and building bridges. And she's another brilliant, brilliant wordsmith. I'm so fortunate to be able to have her today. Ladies and gentlemen, please, please put your hands together, snap it up for Nayma.
Thank you. Limbo. Africa calling, a convoy in the shadows, constant and ever present. A home, but not a home, anointing my edges. Still, I fit nowhere. Here, my name is foreign, my appearance questioned. But where are you from, originally? Probes Goldilocks, cornfields in her hair. I have reconciled with the damp, dark streets, pierced by dimples of obtrusive light, artificial light, illuminating an artificial pond. The dry wit and caustic humor, the sarcasm, the armor we wear, the sleazy sullied snickers of bawdry backstreet jokes, the women who reject gazing at the floor, audaciously holding his stare, the jangle of frenetic city life, the busy lives of others filtering into our busy breaths, in the darkened alcoves of existence. Sartre echoed, "You are in bad company." The clattering coffee shops amid acrid Arabica, the inane monologues on current affairs, clandestine consultations, a temporary respite soaked in caffeine and butter pastries. London calling, cosmopolitan and enthralling. It is the home of a lodger, the key to the kingdom, presenting the illusion of belonging without belonging, the solitude as natural as blinking. There, my name is familiar, my appearance fusing with the dry alleyways and whitewashed facades facing off a fierce sun, in the hodgepodge pavement cafes, where once Ginsberg and Jean Genet supped on mint tea, where tolerance is privately practiced, but never publicly preached. The lamb and cumin infused air that coils and slithers before reclining across your skin like an impermeable veil. The language of my ancestors, tinged with my Britishness, my speech fluent, yet betraying, as wide-eyed locals chuckle like a pacifying parent. You're not from here, are you? in the Medinas, the night sky turns down the heat as families parade in their best attire. Sunflower seeds whose saltiness fizzes on the tongue, sugar-roasted peanuts washed down with canary iced lemonade. The men who gawk belligerently, their eyes betraying the indignity of a shameless woman who refuses to look away. The crested clay tagines joyously bubbling away, terracotta fat jolly uncles, the enticing wisps of flavor, the fragrance of l'enfance, the gnawa drum beats, a throbbing pulse, chanting, dancing, healing, a portal to the beloved on the wings of a trance, a cultural hub that captivates and offends, a shared identity, an organic pond rich with community, kindness, support, love. To serve is to be with Allah. The allotted roles deeming marriage and its fruits the paragon of ambition, gender hindered, scornful eyes from the arbiters of decency as I light my cigarette. I am without decency and without God, casting off the shackles of both, the dogma of belief or illusion, in the clutches of tradition, bleeding bequeathed injury, spurred on by my scars. You're not from here, are you? The cross of the diaspora, life's longing for the other, each suit offering some comfort, but ill-fitting nonetheless. Thank you. When they were young, rucksacks tossed on the floor, shoes obstructing the hallway, impatient hands make a grab for the snack cupboard, uniforms off first, pint-sized limbs thunder down the stairs, full of chatter and mirth. I longed for a time to be the other me, a time to mingle and socialize, to fiercely protest and vocalize, to dance the night away, home at the break of day. A nod to the irresponsible me, no school runs to run your day, in the driving seat instead, a road trip of discovery, all the energy and none of the time, grasping sand to be left with the grains, plan for a day when time's demand wanes, a time when time is on your hands. All the time and none of the energy, shoes neatly stored on the shoe rack, schools out so the teachers kick back, infecund classrooms and lethargy. The reserve is sluggish and spent, no will for idle chat or the idiocy it exposes, the mind willing to dance, the body opposes. To protest, now inefficient. No toy hands diving into the fruit bowl, the waxy oranges undisturbed, the longed for order unperturbed, order to make order of losing control. Thank you. Round trip. Bowie on the radio with the young Americans, the children of Woodstock dancing to glam rock, the new kids on the block, here to hamper the old guard's plan, the children of the revolution flipping over tables, emerging out of the sable of the shadow of war and the values of yore with tie-dyed solution. A jubilant Generation X, born into free love and contraception, consciously tripping on introspection, parading placards to the apex. Now, the cat with the cream, tabling corporations, completely immersed, putting America first, free love, grubbily immoral, drugs, the sin of the amoral, begrudging in MAGA hats, rejecting the fake facts, the tangerine new old guard of the grump generation, angry anarchists to judge, once believing and idealistic, now disbelieving and realistic. Their boozed noses purple as they come full circle, disillusioned and resentful, conservative and fundamental, spewing sanctimonious scorn. Where have all our heroes gone? Nursing a grey diseased grudge, an ill wind of blustery blather rolls over the matters that matter, obedient old Americans silencing young Americans. Thank you. This is one of my newer pieces. Chamchoun. High up, where the mountain air filters out the city grime, in the valley below, dwellings like an aquamarine stairway, inclining towards a molten indigo sky on glorious display, chiming waterfalls where we revive after the arduous climb, your dazzling smile as brilliant as the blazing sun, bubbling babble by a rocky rambling stream, our minds filled with debate, our bellies with tagine, where woes singe and evaporate, and I blissfully become you, so detached, islands of connect, infrequently surface, a captivating call silently spilling from your eyes, cutting through conflict and illuminating the skies, a dance of show, but no tell, stoking a fathomless furnace, standing on the precipice, the world at my feet. You too will run through my fingers like the untamed waters. I have satiated and refreshed in your quivering quarters, your pensive pools quenching the descending peak. Thank you. Okay, let me go back to, not sure how much time I have left. Right.
You got about 10.
Mother and son. At that moment, how we laughed, each squeal infecting the other as we struggled to recover, uncontrollably, ludicrously daft. The ecstasy we wept, unrestrained, quivering chests heaving with glee, the freeing laughter of juvenility, mine then, yours now. A portal in time when our aspects aligned, a beautiful, feckless fool's domain. My darling boy, how I adored you, a cascade of joy, lifting the heavy hue, happiness remembered, save, replay, enjoy. So breezily unaware of the ease that you bring, a sorrow-soothing hymn, a saving answered prayer, aching bellies and bodies folded, gasping for air in between, choking chuckles, our bliss beautifully molded, the air asinine as our legs buckle, a pocket of elation, a keepsake of mine, where memories convene. Thank you. The imposter. In the rooms that twinkle with crystal and opulence, the women with Modigliani necks, bejeweled and bedecked, talking about young skin, exercise and nutrition, of flamboyant designers, fashionably Parisian, camouflaged, complacent copulence. Men in Armani suits and Swiss watches consume business with malt whiskey, antidotes of St. Moritz and après-ski, an arcade of silver-spooned swatches, a spectre occupying the void in hand-me-downs and Primark shoes, a day tripper just passing through, the type you usually avoid, hair brittle and untamed, face conveying time's inflictions, no filler or Botox injections, expression caged and contained, the Cheshire cats who smile sweetly, tiptoeing around class discreetly, a barrage of plummeting playing cards as the Queen haughtily stands guard. I inhabit my place completely, the advantaged advancing out of isolation, the fortunes that swell with predation. I am the stranger in my lady's chamber. Thank you. And last one. This is me. Here I sit, growing into my age jacket, accepting my invisibility, rebuking my fragility. Am I irrelevant? Wearing my wrinkles as a sackcloth and ashes? Should I reinvent myself for the applause of the social media masses? Twits, twittering on Twitter, showcasing shells on Insta, scrolling and trolling, perfecting personas on FB, a photoshopping melee, a veil of airbrush sadness. I need more because I am less, filtering faces and not words, subsisting on praises, captive in light cages. The eyes that don't see me, the ears that don't hear me, I put on my filter and dance to the hollow beat of a digital trance, a pound of flesh under the knife, erasing evidence of a lived life, fattening up my lips and arse, a fatted calf, as a stranger berates me in the looking glass. Are my eyebrows on fleek? Am I scathingly savage enough? Am I too woke or not enough? I log in and await your critique. Let's celebrate the cover and not the book. Post a pic as the panel rates you. Have an opinion and we hate you. Immersing ourselves in the virtual brook. I have wandered the London streets, donning my expiry as an invisibility cloak, as the gaze of the lit quickly retreats before dissolving into the city's big smoke. I have sat with Eliot as we shared despair after shop-worn shared niceties, over tea and cakes and ices, exchanging troughs and peaks as we laughed and cried, bitching with Bukowski, waving to Sylvia as we died inside, empty voices filling the space with speech, their flawless faces behind a screen, me out of touch, them out of reach, where reality in the virtual scheme, I have haunted the void in between. Should I question the truth whilst believing the lie? The hordes flock to TikTok, famous for 15 minutes, to shock, to rock, to mock, to exhibit without limits. But I'm old and the light in their eyes has died. Thank you. I have time for just one more, so I'll just, on the grind. Dressed in the threads of adulthood, forging the bonds that bind, together in troubled times, when you can't see past the wood, harvesting and investing, delayed gratification, grafting out of your station, consume time without digesting. Dreams of someday, get your foot on the property ladder, save on indulgences and work harder, all work and no play. Put in the hours to rise, a promotion or bonus for Jack, greasing the cogs to pick up the slack, strangled by the tie that ties. Grind your bones to make his bread, in a suit suited for ambition. Silence, mental health's attrition. There is no success for the dead. Sacrifice for the future. Feather your pension to cushion the blow. Retire abroad in a rustic chateau. Eiderdown for the stupor. A partner to shoulder the burden. A mortgage to swallow your labor. Life's force fueling the conveyor. Together, picking out curtains. Thank you. Let's see, something shorter. Breaking. Channel hopping, disguising the silence outside. The 6 o'clock news with expert views. A floppy-haired harbinger of doom. A smirking, bungling buffoon. An assassin's Machiavellian ruse. Swallowing the bilious contempt inside. The world's grief oozes in with insidious trepidation, salaciously circling the space, bringing sadness in its embrace before resting heavily on the heart. Once the bereaved brought out their dead, today numbers are broadcast instead. A car horn breaks the stillness, jagged ripples as we break, cracking the crippled impotence, a ghostly day's dissonance. This TV clicks off, silence from the hell that we make. Thank you.
Oh, my friend, my friend, my friend. You're growing into your H jacket very well.
Thank you.
My God. I don't know what a contemporary poet means. I just know I love the way you capture present day life. Your words and the way you see it. And yeah, it just resonates. Can I ask you to do one more? There was a piece that you wrote, I don't know if you have it handy, when Queen Elizabeth passed.
Oh yes, I think I do have that. Death of a Monarch.
Yeah, would you mind? Because I could listen to you all day.
Yeah.
I just love the way you capture present day life. I think even Andrea said it. Silence. Where was it? It was the one about TikTok that I saw the comment, but just the way you describe it, you know, TikTok without limits kind of thing that she said is just so true. You know, we have so much freedom. We feel we can just do everything without limits. And yeah, I just love the way you capture it. Would you mind reading that?
Sure. Death of a Monarch. We interrupt your viewing with this breaking news in the nation's figurehead. The Queen is dead. Not a loyalist or a royalist. Planets in different orbits. A tabloid telescope charting your scope. The colours at half-mast, Her Majesty has passed. Let the bells at the Abbey sing out, tolling mournful dread. The Queen is dead. Roll out the pomp and the rifle shots. Mothballed eras of cribbage and kings, pageantry in black and white, royal carriages and knights of subjects and colonies, conquests and strategies, Union Jack cheers of God Save the King, crackling airwaves abuzz with communique. Endings are harder for those who stay. One death means as much as the next. The grave, unaware of the absence left, ushering in the Caroline rain, As a woman enters number 10, the revolving doors of power bring no relief in desperate hours. A man replaced by a woman replaced by a man. Summer trickles into the autumn equinox, signing off with God Save the King on the box as we struggle to save ourselves. Thank you.
That's just a brilliant piece. You know, the way you're poets that use history, and when they use it, it just kind of stirs up the old hates and emotions. But the way you use it, it's almost like a reminder of we don't need to do this anymore.
Yeah.
The way you infuse it in your present day poetry. That's why I said I don't know what a contemporary poet means, but man, the way you capture present day life and the balance of how you use history is brilliant. And then just the way you deliver it. What a reading.
Very much.
Beautiful, beautiful. How long have you been writing poetry? Like, how did poetry come into your life? Because you're like me, you're self-taught, so.
I think I started probably when I was a child. I used to like to write short limericks and poems and short stories. I think it continued probably into my adolescence where we're full of angst and so we were writing like mad. And I think I stopped for a short while because I was in a very unhappy relationship for a long time and it kind of my creativity, but then it kind of sort of came back during COVID.
Oh, so COVID served many purposes for people then. Is it?
Yeah, we're sort of discussing things about ourselves during COVID.
Yeah. I know right now you're kind of in Morocco and you're going around and meeting the various poets and other people there. In your time in Morocco, what's what have you really learned about being back there? I know you have Moroccan background, but what have you really learned being back in the land of your ancestors?
I think I've learned it's such a beautiful country and the people are so warm and welcoming and they kind of just embrace you into their hearts. So like, you're the daughter of our land. You're one and it is such an amazing feeling. And there is so much creativity and talent here. And it's kind of sad that those who run the country don't invest more in the rich pool of talent that is here.
Seems to be a common theme wherever you go, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And I know even Dr. Molly talked about power and control and inviting people to be more free with that. What would you say to date? Because I love that line, growing into my age jacket. I love that line. So where you are in life, when you look back, because, I'm going to assume you have so much more to do, and I hope you have so much more to do, particularly with poetry and inspiring, not just women, but inspiring other human beings. What are you most proud of so far to date? What are you most proud of to date?
I think probably outside of my children, I guess my poetry collection being published, it was, I think, a dream that I had as a child. I always dreamed of being a writer, and I think sort of the harsh realities of life made me kind of question whether it was an attainable dream. And I kind of sort of just thought, no, I'm kind of kidding myself that could ever happen. So to finally have it published and to see it in print was, mind-blowing. Was
it kind of surreal for you to is this whole process kind of surreal for you? The fact that you are, I would say, you're a successful poet. I don't know what that means. I know here in Canada, someone told me even if you sold 100 books, that's considered a successful poet. But the fact that you're doing it, but does it all feel surreal to you, what you're doing, this kind of whirlwind that you're on right now? Or?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I still kind of have to sort of look twice when somebody says, "Oh, you're a writer," and I was like, "Yeah, a writer." I still struggle to sort of accept that title, and it does feel very surreal. But I'm loving it, and it has opened so many doors for me. I think it seems odd at my age, at 52, that I am actually probably at the best place I've ever been in my life, and a large part of that has been down to the amazing writing community and literature.
Yeah, I know you're working on your first novel now. What can you just tell us what is it about?
Well, it's the story of how my parents came to the UK. It's called The Road from Morocco, and my father, he served in Vietnam under the French. My grandfather served in the Spanish Civil War, and it's a very interesting story.
Oh, I love it. Well, I love history, so I'll be right into that. So, do you have a favorite word?
A favorite word? Gosh, I don't think I do, but maybe compassion.
Compassion.
It's compassion.
Okay. What about a favorite sound? What do you love?
Favorite sound? Probably my favorite sound was always my children's voices in my home.
How old are your children now? How many children do you have?
They're all grown up now. I mean, my eldest is 34. The other is 31. He teaches English in China. And my two youngest are 21 and 19, both at university.
Okay. So your children are grown, but yeah, the voice of children laughing is still one of my favorites.
I still love it. I mean, when they come round for Sunday dinner and I can hear them chattering over the dinner table, it still always fills me with joy.
Yeah. I know you, a lot of your advocacy is around women and mental health. Why is that so important to you? I think it's very important. I think mental health is an issue we don't talk enough about, but why is that important for you?
I think it's important because, mental health, certainly within Moroccan culture, it's still one of those things that is almost taboo, where nobody wants to admit to having mental health issues. And I've often heard, other people describe somebody with mental issues as being, oh, that person's crazy. Mm-hmm. And so there is still that stigma there. And I think and I myself have battled with mental health. I've experienced both depression and anxiety. Mm-hmm. And I just think that, it's not a weakness. Many people that I know who go through mental health are some of the strongest people I know.
Yeah. And it builds on your resiliency, doesn't it?
It does. Absolutely.
I think every human to some degree has challenges with mental health, and we need to stop stigmatizing it. I completely agree. I have days when I just don't want to see anyone do anything, just be in a dark room. If you want to call that depression, okay. But I think we all struggle, yes, from day to day. It's just part of life. So, but I agree with you. There's a stigma around mental health. I'd ask Dr. Molly this. I'm going to ask you this question as well. For the young girls, young women that are coming up, and when they look at a woman like you who's growing so well into an age jacket, what would you say to them? What advice would you give to them?
I would say, do not allow culture or other people's expectations to inhibit you. Always be your true, authentic self and bloom and flower and be the best version of yourself you can be.
And for young boys, young men coming up?
Young men, I would just say, remember that a woman birthed you, and you should always accord that respect. Treat women with the same respect that you, in turn, would like to receive from others.
That is so well said. Because I always try to invite or remind the young men, you come from a woman, you have a mother. Yeah, so treat women the way you'd want your mother to be treated. So great advice, great advice. Last question. When your creator calls you home and you get to meet your creator, what would you want? What would you want to hear from your creator when they say, welcome?
What I want to hear? I'd want to hear that, you've been a good person. You've always tried to make others feel good about themselves and uplift others. And it's been a wonderful life, and I've been blessed in so many ways.
Well, this has been a wonderful reading, and you've blessed us in so many ways. Thank you so much for this, Nayma.
Thank you.
I'm so glad I stumbled across you. I can't remember. It might have been Clive's show that I first encountered you. I can't remember, but I just remember first time I heard you go, I want want to hear more of this woman's work, because I just love, like I said, the way you capture present day life and how you infuse the past and blend it so beautiful with where we are today. So I want to thank you for honoring the Inspired Poetry Corner with your passion, with your brilliant words, and the success that you're having now and the success that's coming. You're so deserving of it. Keep pushing, keep plugging, keep sharing your joy. Our humanity is better for having women like you and Dr. Molly. So I thank you so much for today. Thank you.
Thank you for
Ladies
having
and
me.
gentlemen, please unmute and give Nayma some beautiful love as she sits in a hotel room in Morocco.
Fantastic, Nayma. Very, very unique lines in all of your poems.
Yes.
Exactly.
Beautiful,
And
beautiful.
listening to your lines, I felt I was just going through the Hollow of Eliot, or the wasteland part of it. So intense was the way with which you are infusing your poetic self into the contemporary life. And then some poems turning so introspective. Brilliant it was, Nayma. I loved it.
I thought you captured that sense of vulnerability, how whether you fit in or not, which I think affects all of us, universally. I thought that was brilliant. Thanks, Nayma.
And Dr. Molly and Nayma, Marianne sends her regrets. She's been having problems. I know a couple of people were having problems with Zoom cutting in and out. So she sends her regards and her apologies. She didn't want to be a distraction, but she did get to see a bit of both your sets before she finally couldn't get back on. So that was just such a joyous half hour or 45 minutes we just shared. And I'm literally vibing. If the camera won't pick up the goddess bumps that I have, but oh my gosh, I think I'm going to just bask in this all. Let me change that. I'm going to bask in this all day long. And then we have now the supporting poets that supports our feature, the Not Ready for Primetime poets. And just a reminder, the Not Ready for Primetime poets are primetime. I know a couple of them have been featured before, but it's always nice to have features and then other poets that are willing to support the features. And so we'll start that off, and we'll start it off as tradition. We always, someone a little while back said that the Inspired Poetry Corner on a Sunday morning has become almost like a revival. So, we get the ministers that stand up and preach to us with their poetry, and then we get a beautiful friend from Greece, Alexandra, that kind of brings us into a meditative stage with her work. So, Alexandra, when you're ready, the floor is yours.
I don't know why you love that question so much with when we meet our creator or source or whatever. It's a trick question, isn't it?
No, not really. I mean, it's a question like these. There's like 10 questions that I stole from the Actors Studio, who stole it from another French interviewing show, and that was the last question. And I always thought it was an interesting question to see how people would answer it. So that's kind of why I ask it. So.
Okay, flying for a team. You know that souls don't talk through the mouth. Bring it on, life, every precarious safe haven, every toiling accomplished goal. Arcadians, children of the pre-lunar era. Your struggles, my struggles, entwining around each other. Pain sweetening through sharing. Waiting through centuries of darkness for a miracle to shine. Beams of dreams escaping the narrow bars of reality. Our labored sweat, our bitter patience, dissolving our struggles into the salt of the tear. Bring it on, life, every shatterable righteous law, every daggered, jubilant victory. Agathodemons, children of the absolute word. Your truths, my truths, powering around each other. Eternal debt for the unjust. Eternal gratitude for the just. Lightning condemnation of injustice. Define mortality, determined to win all battles. Fiery anger, sung by muses. Kindling our truths into the tip of the flame. Bring it on, life, every fluctuating precious bond, every undulating sweet desire. Heteroluminescence, children of the solar cosmos. Your light, my light, shimmering around each other. Distancing in cold alienation, connecting in warm communion. Our sacred mating, reflecting infrared wavelengths. Invisible bright frequencies, shapes and colors, becoming visible. Absorbing and transmitting photons. Rippling our light into the foam of the wave. Bring it on, life, every delicate, fine-spun artistry, every frenzied, blissful awakening. Dionysians, children of a primordial orbit. Your passions, my passions, creating around each other. Art flooding with hues of emotions. Every aesthetic touch guaranteeing endless splendor. Ideal voices and thoughts, soaring like seagulls between land and sea. Carrying elevated ideas through space and time. Raising our passions into the upsurging of the spirit. Bring it on, O life, every vulnerable, steadfast vision, every evanescent, ultimate flight. Apollonians, children of the winged evolution. Your quintessence, our quintessence, goldening around each other. Thank you.
Oh, my friend, your work is stepping into a new depth that I've not heard before. That's just brilliant. Thank you so much. Thank you for always honoring us and being here. You're such a constant. You're like change. You're constantly here. And I just love hearing the work. I don't know, maybe I'm just hearing it differently, but there's a depth to your work that I'm sensing these days. So beautiful. Thank you so much.
I might have to start repeating at some point if I run out of inspiration.
Well, you know what? I keep telling poets, man, don't be afraid to repeat your work. Repeat it. You know, we listen to songs all the time repeatedly. So do not be afraid to repeat your work. Especially when it's brilliant work. So good for you. Thank you. All right, up next, I'd like to bring a first-time poet to the Inspired Poetry Corner. Stumbled across this young woman on the Inspired Poetry Facebook page and read a couple of her pieces, and I was like, whoa, I'd love to hear more of this woman. I'd love to hear her poetry. So happy Mother's Day to you, Yvonne in Ireland, and the mic is yours. Welcome.
Thank you so much. Thanks for inviting me here today. I'm actually not very familiar with reading poetry on Zoom. I prefer reading, in person. So this is a really lovely opportunity and experience. And as we've mentioned already, today is Mother's Day here in Ireland. So the two pieces that I'd like to read to you today have that theme. The first poem is my two poems actually are from a small collection I have called Twigs. And the first poem is a poem that I wrote, that's a moment really of one of my experiences of being a mother. And it's about one time that I was waiting with one of my sons, waiting for his school bus. And I always said to them that we were watching for the bus instead of saying that we were waiting for the bus. And so the poem will tell the story. Watching. We watched for the school bus. It was cold, so we stayed inside, sitting on the bed. As his bedroom windows have the best view, and the bus can be spotted as it makes the left at Stack's Cross. We watched for the bus, and he saw a huge bird floating in the icy wind over patches of fields. "It's a hawk," he shouted. "He's watching something." We watched as it held itself together in the wind. We watched as it did not take its eye off its target. We watched as it remained focused, never letting the weather stop its wants or needs or purpose. The bus arrived. I watched as he ran onto the bus with his black coat untied and blowing like bat wings around him, his moon boy cap in his hand, blonde hair blowing carefree. "Put on your cap, zip up your jacket," I shouted in my mum voice. But he ignored me and climbed onto the bus. Excited after the adventure we just had. I knew how much he loved feeling the wind blowing around him and was probably imagining he was the hawk. I watched the bus drive off. I let the wind carry my whispering prayer to always keep his wings strong, to keep his spirit alive, to keep his eyes focused on what's important, to always remember that life can pass by watching buses, or life can pass by watching hawks, watching something, being who they are, living their dream, letting the wind bend their wings, but not shake them from their true path. And my second poem it's really on the theme of Mother Nature, and it's a celebration really and an honor, a way of honoring Mother Nature. And it's about the two seasons of spring and summer. And I suppose it's a love poem as well of sorts. And it's called Spring Sends Love Letters. Spring sends love letters to summer, written in ink of green. A love affair blossoming, secret, nocturnal awakenings. Sunrises unwrapping nakedness in orange and gold. Sunsets hiding moonlit secrets only bats and owls can be told. Love bursting buds, sensual smells of fairy bluebells ring out to the lovers to come, lie here in beds of purple. Under shady oaks, where time stops and the earth's lovemaking is camouflaged by birdsong and frog croaks. Spring wraps her ties around summer, letting bog heat and garden juices flow. And longer nights by cool water banks as the river bends shyly, as if not to know. Thanks everybody for listening to me, and thanks for inviting me here, Ollie.
No, you're welcome, Yvonne. You know, it's one thing to read it, it's another thing to hear the poets say it. So I really enjoy your poetry. So I'm glad you can make it. And how does it feel? How do you feel now?
It's great actually. I find it is very different, as you say, to read the poem or to share it maybe on Facebook and have other people read it themselves. So I just find it's been very inspiring here today to have the other women poets as well. So I found that very empowering, and it's been fantastic to be part of it again.
Well, glad to have you, and you're welcome here anytime. I keep posting because I do and love reading your poetry. So I really do love your flow. Thank you.
Take care. Thank you.
All right. Okay. And the hits keep coming. We'll just flow from one brilliant poet to another. And another brilliant poet. I've had the opportunity of actually being interviewed by her and getting to hear her a number of times. So snap it up for Kiana the artist. Mike is yours, my friend. Good to see you.
Hello. Hello, everyone all around the world. All right. Keyana. Thearst. Kiana the artist. I'll go around the world to tell my story to every girl, for every boy, for every woman, for every man. I'll go around the world to tell my story, all in one. The attitude of character to visible love to unspoken word. I'm the artist. I'm the artist. He believe in God, believe also in me. I'm a woman. I'm a woman. I'm a woman with faith with God. What matters to me, what falls in place, and never to justify what you could become. Every day is a new day. Every day is a bright and sunny day. I tend to be with my friends and become even more. My deepest fear is to believe in yourself, to judge me because I am Black. In this moment of speech, now walk in my shoes, now walk in my shoes, now walk in my shoes. My naysayers can't say what to say about you because I am somebody, because I am somebody. To the natural hair, to the natural eyes, look at me. I'm natural. The sexy term is you. Is this mic on? Can I have your attention, please? Words and words are dream reality. So why I'm here? Because I'm the next generation. Pretty Miss. I'm this little shy girl that's called pretty. See, I've been called pretty all my life. How I known to be pretty? Because of the dark skin and pretty long hair. See, I'm pretty just the way I am. I'm this little shy girl that's called pretty. Hey, pretty, do I change the color of the rainbow or do I change the color of my skin? See, I'm pretty just the way I am. I'm this little shy girl that's called pretty, pretty, pretty. I'm the little shy girl that wants to fit in all the right places. See, I'm pretty just the way I am. I'm the little shy girl that's called pretty, pretty, pretty. I'm the little shy girl that's called pretty, pretty. Do I wear jeans or do I wear a skirt? See, I'm pretty just the way I am. I'm the little shy girl that's called pretty, pretty, pretty. I'm the little shy girl that's called pretty. Thank you. And I'll put all the information in the chat box.
Yeah, I was just gonna say thank you so much for it's good to hear you again. It's been a while, and I so enjoy your rhythmic flow, but the depth of it, if you you get past the rhythm and listen to the words. And pretty is an interesting poem. We'll have to talk more about that. So because
Thank
you're an
you.
artist,
And thank you for International Women's. So that
those,
little book, her name is Journey, has
yeah,
inspired all little girls around the world. Her name is Journey, and the poem was by Pretty. So basically, for all the women, for little girls around the world, to say, hey, I want to be pretty, but there's so many restrictions as a woman. You can't do this, you can't do that, you can't wear this, you can't wear that. So inspire little girls to be free. They are somebody, as in being who she is. So
beautiful
thank
message.
you.
Thank you, my friend. Thank you for honoring us. Yeah, put your stuff in the chat, and all you poets that are reciting or coming to recite, put your information where people can find your stuff. If you've got books to sell and so forth, let us know where we can reach it. Thank you so much again, Kiana. All right, up next, we're moving back across the pond to Jennifer in Germany. Jennifer, my friend.
Hi,
Good
all.
to see you again.
I see you too. I want to share the screen because I have problems with my voice.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
You should be able to do it.
Yeah. Okay, I just click on it. Okay. Yeah. My first poem is titled Coming On. You are coming on to me, though we both know you are not free. Are you a gigolo, frustrated, a sex addict? Why do you want to make her cry? Pain to her heart, sorrowful tears to her eyes, cheating on her, telling her cruel lies, me, sweet lies. I weak enough to allow you closer to me. I am sure you would not remain for eternity, loving just me. Do not steal anxiously away during your lunch break, lying on any surface, leaning against any wall, going quickies till I fall. And then you call the next face. You get tired of seeing my face, my body and my face. Even though my body, my soul will longingly be itching to say yes, I am strong enough, not a fool in love enough to be easy, entangled in your lustful sex trap. Don't push me, don't coax me, entice me with material rewards. I am strong enough to say no, accept it, just go. The second time I wrote.
Hold on a sec, Jennifer.
Yeah.
Your audio is kind of glitching in and out.
Oh.
I don't know. I would assume sharing screen would work. If you want to try maybe turning your camera off and just do the audio.
Okay, then let me.
I think it would still work because we don't want to miss your poetry and we were.
Okay.
So maybe if it's okay, just do the first one again because it was really glitchy.
That's not a problem.
I don't know if it's it's just maybe the connection.
Okay. Okay, then. You are coming on to me, though we both know you are not free. Are you a gigolo, frustrated, a sex addict? Why do you want to cry? Pain to her heart, sorrowful tears to her eyes, cheat on her, telling her cruel lies, telling me sweet lies. Are I weak enough to allow you closer to me? I am sure you would not remain for eternity, loving just me. Would you not steal anxiously away during our lunch break, lying on any surface, leaning against any wall, enjoying quickies till I fall? And then you call the next one to take place. You get tired of seeing my body and my face. Even though my body, my soul may longingly be itching to say yes, I am strong enough, a fool enough, crazy, entangled in your lustful sex trap. Don't push me, coax me, entice me with material rewards. I am strong enough to say no, accept it, just go. My second poem is titled Brave Woman. I wrote at the beginning of the month for Women's Month. Poverty-stricken women of yesteryears, toiling in the fields, toiling in the homes, babies growing in their bellies, toiling, till time of deliveries. Women of yesteryears, freedom fighters, war heroes, Jamaican national hero Nanny of the Maroons, slave revolutionaries paving the way for their male counterparts who bask in their glory. Men of yesterday, unrecognized book authors, painters, composers, X-ray inventor, nursing pioneers, flight pioneers, doctors, engineers, mathematical geniuses sending mails safely to outer space, turning their spaceship safely back to Earth, all due to a brainy Black woman's face. Women of today, leaders of nations, business executives, astronauts, pilots, nurses, engineers, doctors, top models, pop stars, gangsters. Or women of tomorrow will continue to share the sorrow, or women of today, still toiling in the fields, still toiling in the homes, still toiling till time of deliveries. Many women have come a long way. Many more women remain confined to their homes, prevented by men having a solid education, aging in their desired profession. Will there ever one day be retribution? Thank you.
Thank you, Jen. Thank you so much. I'm glad you did the screen share because your audio was cutting out, and I know your voice. I know you're recovering from being sick, so that was still well done. Thank you so much for joining us and sharing your pieces on women. Thank you.
Okay, my voice problem is something that's permanent, will come and go.
Oh, does it?
Because I have been diagnosed with Sjogren's syndrome, and it affects the voice at times.
Oh, okay. Is that something new or?
No, yeah, I've had it for the past 9 years.
Oh, okay. Just to remember it being like this, yeah.
Yeah, sometimes it comes, but it's not there all the time. So,
Oh,
but I
okay.
never know when it's gonna affect.
Gotcha.
I should say.
No. Anyway, thank you for soldering through and coming and sharing your beautiful words with us today. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, you're welcome. Up next, Leah, former feature.
Hello.
So pleased to be your first feature. Yay.
Yeah, I had a recent feature with Fire and Dust, and I spent a lot of time on Clive's open mic, Obehive, and Beehive. I can't pronounce it properly.
I always have a hard time saying it too.
Yeah. And, what I wanted to share with you today is the second half of my favorite poem I've ever written, and it does kind of honor my home, my family, my mother, my father. It's just how I grew up. And so I'm reading the second half of the poem, but it kind of brings you into my world, into my childhood home and how I grew up. And it's called Coordinates of Home. My room, changed and yet not, whenever I go home. Lovingly made shelves overflowing with antique toys, keepsakes and collectibles line the circumference of my ceiling. A rope bed, uncomfortable, creaky, centuries out of fashion. I would cry if they replaced it. Hard, hand-stenciled tulips by my mother's hand on wooden floorboards and walls, matching mauve doors and trim. Never liked pink, but could never give that up. Treasures gathered and kept, toys and trends, teddy bears, tickets, pogs and pond stones, necklaces and knickknacks, till every corner is crowded with clutter and each piece a memory, revisited at view or when cleaning, newly discovered at every dusting, as if it lived that moment. Somehow we never fought over the bathroom with its clawfoot tub and with tricky electrics, for the hairdryer that would blow that fuse if too many lights or TVs were on at the same time, howling from every corner at who was responsible. The hallway had its charms, the sewing machine, Antique, no fancy patterns or multiple settings, yet still off it came Halloween costumes out of a little girl's fairy tale dreams. A jar of buttons, saved by my grandmother because in the Depression with 6 girls you threw away nothing. Creaking floorboards and dim lights, proud parent displayed children's drawings and gifts of poems too much like Hallmark cards before I wrote my own. The nursery or computer room or guest room, depending on the rotor of growing up, grandmother's bed from those last years, still makes me smile, feel like she's there. My parents' room, safe place, where I can lay on dad's shoulder or play with mom's hair till sleep keeps me safe from monsters in the dark, from thunder, from loneliness, sleeping on the floor when the dark gets too dark, till the nightlight was more than enough and reading just one more page became more enticing. It wasn't just the dark. There were the scary parts, the basement where I ran in and out only as absolutely necessary, the attic that was haunted no matter what my mother tried to tell me, especially at night, especially by the door that opens into my room when I'm not looking, I'm sure. The attic tamed by my mom, with a playroom where I joined in the conspiracy much later, wrapping Santa's presents once it was my turn to keep my sister's faith a little longer. But between the scary parts, a fortress of love, like life, stumbling in innocence and ignorance with only home as a touchstone. Summers peeling corn on the back steps, dog going crazy in the yard, scaring rabbits and town kids, more terrier than terrifying, not that she knew. Memorial Day parades, first watching in childhood, not understood, then performed, before or after my birthdays, topped with mom's strawberry shortcake, as only she can make it, with barbecues by the pool, running through sprinklers and backyards, playing tag and manhunt until too dark or the voices call us home for dinner. Autumns decorating the graveyard, spreading spiderwebs like candles, sneaking sweets, spilling secrets to the witch, could tell my friends' fortunes with mysterious accuracy. How they never caught on, I'll never know, or maybe they did, but pretended the magic of the witching hour, crunching leaves of every color, piled high, and that smell, nothing like that smell, not good, not bad, fresh and natural, shifting sounds, cicadas in the wind, having left their alien shells hanging lifelike from the bark. New school year, new challenges with the energy growing as the light dims. Winters by the fireplaces, smelling wood smoke, knowing warmth, watching snow, hibernating, sledging down the small hill down the road, drying mittens and socks and numb fingers on the grate of the fireplace, crackling and ash, glow and embers like magic, like tongues licking my clothes in the same way it licks the wood in the grate. The smell of baking and cooking filling the house for what seems like a month between Thanksgiving and Christmas, between friends and family, the warmth of company chasing out the cold of the outside, hot chocolate, Jell-O in antique glasses and mulled wine, board games that in peals of laughter, no matter who wins, if anyone is even keeping score. Springs of hidden Easter eggs, dyed the day before, Crayola crayons making faces and animals, patterns in boiling water and vinegar, the distinctive smell forever associated with the kitchen and spring, even now, decades and miles away, eating baskets of sweets, trading for our favorites, sugar highs for days. Floorboards to ceiling beams, broken bricks in kitchen or walkway to ancient sash windows, iron radiators that click and creak to keep warm, modern conveniences buried under mountains of antiques, ages of family collected, surrounding in my home. A harbor from heartbreak, a classroom of wisdom, a place of belonging, a dream and a bastion for all we could become. And all we must remember to be, set the compass, set the course. Never let me forget the coordinates of home. Thank you.
Clive, I love you because of you and Nick and your show, I got to meet this beautiful soul. Oh my God, you just took me down memory lane with your words. Can I hire you to just read me stories every night before bedtime? Like, you're brilliant. The warmth of company chasing out the cold. That whole piece is just so delicious and so memorable.
Because it's my favorite that I've ever written, and it's in my first book. I actually, it's one of the few that I have recorded myself reading the whole thing on my YouTube channel. So I'm going to put that link in the thing. So if you want to hear the whole poem,
I'm gonna go. Yeah,
I'll put it in there.
Yeah.
But you know, it made my brother is like hardcore, ex-military FBI, like, and he told me it made him cry. And I've never heard a higher compliment from my brother about my work. So it should hopefully bring that sense of home to anybody who reads it.
Well, that it does. You're a brilliant writer, and I thank you. I'm glad to call you friend. And I hope you're feeling better. Thank you for being here today. Thank you so much. Thank you. All right. And from one brilliance to the next, the man of love, the man of light, the man that inspires us to hopefully be better people and to, tap into our spiritual side. Lanton, the floor is yours, my friend.
Thank you, my brother. I've changed a few times. I think I'm going to go soft and sublime. The Divine Mother, the agony of longing. You have come to me, traversing the path of centuries of ignorance, bringing the harmonious melody of the breeze, the fragrant vermilion roses that romantic lovers would offer to their paramours. Until I savored the flavoring of your essence, I never knew that love could be so enchanting. You smile at me, and my soul melts like sugar, lost in an ocean of your ecstatic sweetness. Your moonlit beauty erases the dark caverns in my heart. You give me the impetus to start anew, and I long to look at the shooting stars while lying on your lap. What is this wondrous culinary of you that I taste? It has no earthly seasoning, yet its aroma woos me in trance, even as my gaze becomes transfixed with a joy celestial. Your heart has become my temple, a safe space for me to dwell without worrying about the loneliness of the mundane, even as your sparkling rays mimic an airstrip, glowing like the moon, one I can walk on safely at nights, a joyful wayfarer on his way home. Your sweet nectar of honey trickles within. I'm held in bemusement with a silent tongue, denied of language by a bewitching power. I am full, but the food I eat confuses me. Seasoned with a new kind of wine, it makes me thrice inebriated, and I throw up within, warmed by the fire of thy love. Who knew that my inner longing could lead to such intensity of freedom? Now I beg for release so that I can breathe again. Yet it is in the stillness of breath I feel most intimate and loving. I had been busy playing with ignorance, but now I shed blissful tears in awe of what I have become. There is an inner bewilderment that starves my dreams, and I drink deep of the reality of you and I together, wrapped in the harmony of union. Morning awakes and I feel your presence, not the fresh black cafe Arabica sin leche, the black coffee without milk that I was once accustomed to, but a fragrant lilac ambience permeating the decor of our surroundings. I open and close my eyes. You're still here. Your knowing smile waltzing with the butterflies in my heart, even as your kiss splits my veins open to blend its brilliant hue with the intimacy of thy love. I let go of the shadow of morals and bask in the essence of your being. We become one, longing as intense as the lashing melody of waves, binding our souls together like glue, tailor-made from this seamless love. We speak in silence, and I ask, "Oh Queen, what is this rhapsody that I feel within?" But you answer in glee-filled tears, flowing like a river of joy down radiant cheeks. I went to bed a yearning soul, one who spent many years in search of you, in search of your unspoken sugarcane juice. Now my longing has harvested, the seeds grown from ancient cries of seeking, the blossoming daffodils, an aria to make Solomon blush as the radiant dawn pays homage to their beauty. Waiting was more than worthy, and before you came, I hung on the red threads of desolation and despair, my thoughts caught in the bitter remorse of yesterdays and the illusionary fears of tomorrows. Now that I have found you, your lips are my wine of endless delight. The price is never right. How I lamented your absence, blamed you for so much of my struggles. Now that you are with me, who cares about past challenges, the steep slopes of the agony of a hungry lover? I wish I was hurt 10 times more to make up for the sweetest ecstasy I feel within. Beloved, you fulfill my culinary needs, and your banquet is more than deserving of an insignificant beggar like me at the stunning gateways of your majesty. You have only to ask, and I will squeeze this heart for you, only to swoon in surrender in the bewitching wonders of thy love divine. Lantern Carry, thank you.
Yes, you are, Lantern Carrier. I was so honored when you asked me to do a collab piece at Eureka Cafe, and this piece that you just read reminds me of that. You're just, your divine message just rings through it every word. Thank you so much, brother. Thank you so much.
Thank you, thank you.
You're a blessed. You're a blessed. Doesn't matter what your spiritual beliefs are. If you can't feel the magic and the divinity in his words, then you're not alive. And that's just my opinion. So I just think you're brilliant, my friend. Thank you. Well,
thank you.
We've come to the end of the show. Thank you to Dr. Molly. Thank you to Nayma for being just brilliant human beings that honored us today with your creativity, your words, and your humanity. And thank you to the Not Ready for Primetime poets, Alexandria, Yvonne, Kiana, Jennifer, Leah, Lantern. And to those that came to just listen and to support. It's appreciated. It's appreciated to support the Inspired Poetry Corner gets. And for those of you that have not ventured off, I know, Yvonne, you're new to all this. Clive has an amazing show, him and his partner, Nick, that does out of London. There's the Lime Poets Square out of Dublin, I believe. I don't know if you know of them. You know, there's nothing wrong. I could send you the links. Leah knows them as well. There's some amazing open mics that we all participate in. I don't do as many as I used to when I first kind of got into this. But what an amazing community, because without it, I wouldn't have met people like Leah and Jennifer and gotten to hear Clive's crazy brilliance. Yeah, crazy brilliance. So it's an honor to be able to bring the sampling of humanity from around the world. It's an honor that I get to do this. I'm like Nayma. When people say I'm a good poet or brilliant, I still struggle with that title myself. I truly believe my spidey senses is bringing people together, which I love doing, because we get to see and sample our humanity. And we sit around and wait for 5 minutes to recite. And we do it joyously. Like I said, it's not just the 5 minutes. It's all the time that we spend together and all the times when we're not together that we look forward to coming back together. Because for a brief moment on a Sunday morning, we get to sample our humanity in a different way. We get to share it. And it's in that spirit, I'm going to ask Kinfolk to take us home. These two beautiful souls that are about to come, I don't know what they're going to do because I don't even know if they know what they're going to do. They just make it up as they go, but they're just brilliant. So I'm going to say thank you, good night, because I'm going to let Kinfolk take us home. Dr. Molly, Nayma, you guys were brilliant. You've done women on this planet a great service. You've done our humanity a great service. Thank you for being here. Love you all. Kinfolk, floor is yours.
It's like the lights switched off and anger wells up inside. And I can't get high, and it's fucking up my life. You see, I'm mad at men. That's the truth I've had to hide. But I get chastised when I speak what's on my mind. You see, I'm fragile, but I know I come off as strong. I could cry now, but you won't understand what is wrong. You see, my only hope is to sing this sad song to you. Maybe you'll hold me and never let me go. Baby, just stay with me. Spend the night. But you know I don't trust men, so I push you away when we fight. You see, I'm fragile, but I know I come off as strong. I could cry now, but you won't understand what is wrong. You see, my only hope is to sing this sad song to you. Baby, you'll hold me and never let me go. Baby, just stay with me. Spend the night. But you know I don't trust men, so I push you away when we fight. I heard shaking. Make a rattle sound as she moves in town. She's dreaming. Nothing and no one can hold her down. Ooh. Little girl walking there. Ha 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 ha. Ooh. Little girl walking there, picking up stones when she goes. Little girl walking there, ha 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 ha. There's a little girl walking there, picking up stones where she goes. Coming down with a simple song, a stranger heard her melody and sang along. A spark grew from their stones that carried stories too. Little girl walking there, ha 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 ha. She's a little girl walking there, picking up stones where she goes. Little girl walking there, ha 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 ha. She's a little girl walking there, picking up stones where she goes. Little girl walking there.
I saw this little girl walking, picking up stones with a particular joy,
Little girl walking there,
bouncing.
stones where she goes.
Her spirit was bouncing as she moved around. Little girl walking there, picking up stones where she goes. Little girl walking there, picking up stones where she goes. She had come from a different continent,
Little girl walking there, picking up stones.
moving in a strange land, but the familiarity of stones. Little girl walking there, picking up stones where she goes. Little girl walking there, ha 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 ha. Laughing as she did, she went on as a few strangers
There, picking up stones where she goes.
paid attention. Little girl walking there, ha 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 ha. I was curious, and so I had to ask,
Little girl walking there, picking up stones.
what do you want to do with these stones? And she says, well, these stones remind her of her grandmother, so she picks them up to take to her garden. Because she said her grandmother told her every time she feels down, she should remember the stones. Little girl walking there,
Picking up stones
where she goes. Little girl walking there, ha 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 ha. She's a little girl walking there, picking up stones where she goes. And so she says she's picking up these stones for her grandchildren,
walking there, picking up stones where she goes.
so that every time they look at them, they remember that
Little girl walking
even though the world devalues you,
stones where she goes.
your beauty will be placed in the gardens of tomorrow,
Little girl walking there,
and that the soil is necessary for growth. So stones, sand,
little girl
despite the value devalued as dirt, still feeds us. She's a little girl walking there, picking up stones where she goes. She's a little girl walking there, picking up stones where she goes.
Little girl walking there, picking up stones where she goes.
Yeah, she's a little girl, she's walking there, she's picking up stones where she goes. She's a little girl, she's walking there, she's picking up stones where she goes. Little girl walking there, picking up stones where she goes. Little girl picking up stones where she goes. Picking up the broken pieces of a continent that was discarded in many stories, but that lived in the heartbeats of those who inhabited those spaces. To remind humanity that life is life, despite our opinions about it.
Little girl walking there. Ha, 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 ha. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for this moment. Thank you for giving space to women and for me to be that woman and that little girl at the same time. And for you to all hold space for that. Because we are not just by ourselves. We make each other happen. So thank you for the space. Thank you to the speakers. Thank you, Raul.
Yes. Yeah, thank you. And for bringing all of us together, for the people that write, that take the time to bring the imaginative world and expand our viewpoints, to expand the human possibilities, even in the pen, even in the writing. And those as the memories, as the real lived evidence of those possibilities and those realities too. Yes, for this gathering, for today, for the many worlds that have come together, what this is. We really appreciate it. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I love you guys so much.
Yeah, we love
I still watch your growth. Like Leah just said, your playfulness. Dia, you're adding whistling now to your repertoire. Must be Trophy's influence. I love it.
I can finally whistle.
But just, your love just transcends in everything you do. And, you guys keep thanking me. I'm the one that's honored to know you too. I'm the one that's honored to know you too. Thank you for always answering the call whenever I ask. You have no idea what you guys mean to me. I love you dearly.
Oh,
I'm not going to say you're like my own. You are my own. You are my children.
Thank you. Yes.
When you're a boy. So thank you for gracing us. Thank you all poets. What an amazing Inspired Poetry Corner. I know it's early for you guys, so hopefully Gloria will go back to bed and let you guys get some sleep, because I know you guys have been doing your thing, so keep doing it. And to Dr. Molly and to Nayma, thank you again, and to all the poets who came and shared, and to the ones that came just to listen. Thank you so much for today. Have a blessed, blessed, blessed Sunday. And remember, we are human. We all come from woman. And that's man's greatest job, to protect that which matters most. The giver of life. Have a blessed day, people. Love you all. Peace.
Bye, bye, bye.